Welcome everybody to the And Another Thing show, the podcast about I can't do it. Oh my gosh. How does he do that so easily? Okay. Welcome everybody to the And Another Thing show, the podcast about anything, everything, and nothing. I'm your host, Hope. And it's just me. It's Hope, and Hope. I am your only host for today, and that's the first time I ever did that intro, and that was really hard to do. I had to compose myself, but this week it's just me. It's just me. We had a few scheduling conflicts, and by that I mean none of us communicate with each other. I'm pretty sure I told Mark to come over and shoot the podcast Sunday, and then Sunday came and went, and he never came over. So I don't know if that's my bad or his bad, or we could just blame Andrew. I don't know. People are busy. We're busy. We're still trying to figure this out because, we're doing this for fun. And when we brought it back, we tried to figure out what days we wanted to shoot and like when we could make it work because we all have jobs and life, and I'm tired all the time. I don't know why I'm tired all the time, but I am. And like, newsflash, not having a production team to shoot and edit your podcast, it doesn't help anything. This is a lot of work on the side, but it's fun, and we're doing this on the off chance that we get rich and famous and blow up. That'd be great. But for now, it's just for fun and for our friends who listen to this, for our two friends who listen to this podcast. So just trying to figure out like a schedule and everything. But this week, I don't know. Where is everybody? I don't know. Obviously not here, and obviously doing something better. So it's just me. And I was kind of nervous about doing this by myself because I was like, can I talk for like 40 minutes to an hour by myself? I'm shooting for 45 minutes. I don't want to get crazy here. But I started talking to myself and I was like, oh, wait, yeah, I think I can do this. Because honestly, I talk to myself all the time anyway. I'm literally home alone 24/7. I work from home. So I am my own best friend, and give me a microphone, I think I could talk for an hour. I don't know what we're going to talk about. My life, me, myself, and I. This is so fun because I don't have anybody else butting in. I don't have Mark talking over me like he always does, or Andrew cutting me off or stealing my jokes. So we get to talk about whatever we want. And I think it'd be really fun, now that I'm thinking about it, if we all did a solo episode, like if I had a solo episode, which is obviously this, and then if Mark had his own episode and Andrew had his own episode, just to see how each of us kind of would have or like talk to ourselves. I don't even think Andrew would be able to do it. It'd be so interesting to see what each person would talk about on their own thing. Also, my dog is here. Red, if you hear him chewing on a bone. Yes. And we're on video. I'm trying to keep this video thing going. We're also experimenting with video, so you'll be able to see me, hi friends, on YouTube and Spotify. I was able to upload videos on Spotify, which is really cool. We're really cool. And yeah, so this is going to be my podcast episode. And I'm nervous. That was a mouthful. This is like hard doing it by yourself because I have to remember to breathe and like take a breath. But yeah, I don't think this will be too hard because like I was saying, I am my own best friend. I think I'm hilarious. I literally talk to myself all the time. I did it since I was a kid. So I am the youngest out of two. There's only me and my sister. And my sister is 7 years older than me. So you can imagine, like, I basically grew up an only child, if I'm being honest. Like, she was always in a different phase of life than me. Because when I was in middle school, intermediate, which is 4th, 5th grade, she was in high school. Once I got up to high school, she was in college. Once I got to college, she was like out in the job world. So we were always in different phases of life. But once we got older, tale as old as time, you become closer, with people who are older. And but growing up, I was really on my own. I'm going to be honest. I was like out in the woods. My parents' house was set way back from the road and it was just surrounded by forest. So it was honestly just me, the woods, and my dogs. I grew up with my dogs basically. So I had to entertain myself a lot and I talk to myself all the time. I don't know how common that is if like everybody talks to themselves. I don't even catch myself doing it. Like other people will tell me that I'm doing it, but I will be in a public space. I will be in the grocery store trying to decide between two different pastas and I will be talking to myself out loud. I'll be like, oh, do I really want bow tie pasta or do I want penne or like what am I like? I don't know if other people pass me by and they think that's weird, but sometimes I'll hear other people talking out loud to themselves and I find it comforting. Like I don't look at them like they're weird. I look at them like you and I are the same. I don't know if I'm talking like an autistic person. I honestly think I am autistic a little bit, but that's why I'm thinking this won't be that hard because I talk to myself all the time. And I think I'm the greatest person on earth. Actually, that's a lie. It depends when you catch me. It depends on the day of the month. I'm either my number one fan or I'm my worst enemy. Right? I'm my arch nemesis. That's what that is, right? Your arch nemesis is your number one enemy. That's like the top of your enemy list, right? That's like Batman and Joker. I gotta check that. Arch nemesis. How do you spell that? ARCH NEMESIS. Why? That is the weird word. An arch nemesis is a main enemy or opponent of a character or person. Okay. So it's the main enemy. I don't know if that means number one enemy or arch enemy. Oh, arch enemy. Arch nemesis. Okay, yeah, I am both. I am my own hero and I am my own arch nemesis. It just depends on the time of the month. And you could say that that's just me being a crazy person, but that's just me being a woman. And I have accepted the cards I've been dealt in life. I don't know. I can't explain it. I literally will look in the mirror and I'll be like, that is the hottest person I've ever seen in my life. Or I will look in the mirror and be like, that is a garbage human. You're not funny. None of your dreams will come true. And I wish the worst on you. It's weird. It's weird being a woman. This is so fun. I can kind of talk about womanhood without being mansplained to. Oh my gosh. I don't miss them at all. I thought I would miss them a little bit, but I don't miss Mark and Andrew at all. Okay, so what do we want to talk about? I'll talk about what's been going on in my life. Not much, if I'm being honest. We went through the TikTok ban, which was an emotional roller coaster for me. I love TikTok. Oh my gosh. I love TikTok. And that second where I thought we weren't going to have TikTok, I was scrolling. I'm going to be honest. I was doom scrolling on TikTok for the entire month of January. We're in February now. So I didn't really get anything done in January. It was just TikTok because I thought it was getting taken away. And then it didn't. So maybe in February I can start working on my goals or some shit like that. But I've been doing that. I've been really into reading. I really need to talk about this and maybe we'll cover it when we all come back into the studio, but I have been reading. Oh, not this one. I have been reading. Well, actually, yeah, both. Currently, I'm reading Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. It's a fantasy book, if you don't know. And I'm also rereading A Court of Thorns and Roses, also by Sarah J. Maas. She has like 3 different series that are kind of all in the same world, but they're kind of the multiverse in fantasy, this fantasy world. Guys, we gotta talk about this. The way that these books, specifically ACOTAR, okay? That's short for A Court of Thorn and Roses, if you're new here. ACOTAR has taken over my life. I can't even... The character, the world, and the plot in these books, there's 5 books, and we're currently waiting for the 6th book to come out. I'm not kidding you. I think about these books every single day of my life. And it's not just because I'm rereading them right now. I think about these characters every day of my life, and they do not exist. These characters are not real. So I'm coming to you telling you that I have a mental illness because what is in this book, I don't know, crack cocaine. I'm not kidding. I read this series for the first time last year because it was everywhere. People were telling me to read these books. And I haven't really gotten into reading that much since high school. Hunger Games was like my bread and butter in high school. I was obsessed with those books. And a book hasn't really affected me that much since Hunger Games. Okay, fast forward 10 years later, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I am daydreaming about fictional Batmen. Can I repeat that for you? I am in my head dreaming, fantasizing, thinking about these fairy men who have magical powers and bat wings. And they're not real. They're not real. I have to remind myself that every single day of my life, that these bat boys are not real. And I'm not okay. Like, physically, mentally, I would say more mentally. Physically, I'm okay. Mentally, I'm not okay. I'm not. It's really, really, really bad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm reading Throne of Glass as well, which is the other series. It's good. I'm waiting for it to, like, take over my life like ACOTAR did. I'm on the 5th book right now, right? This is the 5th book, Queen of Shadows. Yeah. I'm waiting for it to pick up. There's 8 books in that one. Oh, my gosh. Like, I'm not kidding you. The main character in ACOTAR, Rhysand, he's not real. He's not Hope. He's not real. He's not real. So that's what I've been doing. I'm not kidding. The entire month of January has been TikTok and ACOTAR. That's it. That's all I've been doing. And daydreaming my life away. I don't know. That's really all the updates that I have. But you guys should read the book because it's absolutely incredible. And if you want to get a mental illness like me, then I climb on board because I don't know how you make a book like that. It's actually insane. I'm just daydreaming about bat boys. Literally adult men with bat wings. Okay? That's who I'm wasting my energy on. They're not even real. So that's been my little update. And I thought, since it's just me, myself, and I could do like a little get to know me maybe. I have no questions prepared. The best way that I believe to get to know somebody is to figure out things that they love. So asking somebody like what their favorite artist is, what their favorite food is, what their favorite hobbies are. My personal favorite is what a person's favorite movies are. And you know we love movies on And Another Thing here. We talk about them all the time. So I thought it'd be fun to maybe go through my all-time favorite movies. Maybe. That could be fun. I already wasted 14 minutes. This is crazy. How do people have podcasts by themselves? This is insane. Oh my gosh, the Grammys were last night. I didn't watch because I don't really care. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know when the Oscars are. The Oscars, I will pay a little more attention to. I need to watch some of the movies, some of them that were nominated because I have been so behind on watching movies. I just have not had the attention span to sit down and watch a movie. It's been really bad. And I need to get back on it. But the Grammys were last night. Today's Monday. And as always, disappointment. Also, I forgot the last time that you guys were listening to this podcast, we were getting excited for the Buffalo Bills, to be entering the hopefully the Super Bowl. That did not happen. Newsflash. I'm going to tie in the Grammys and the Buffalo Bills together in a second. But basically, that was the worst game I've ever seen in my life. And I'm a woman who has never played football in her life and has tried in the past few years to get on the football train. And it's a very entertaining sport. I really do love it. But not when the refs are acting a fool, okay? Not when I got refs. I got old, bald men who can't see and can't hear anything dictating. They have too much power in their hands. I'm over the refs. It was the worst called game ever. And I know I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, but like, it's actually ridiculous. I'm not watching the Super Bowl this year. I don't care. I don't care if I'm witnessing history that is undeserved. I don't want. So we got Kansas City going to the Super Bowl again. Whoopee. The Grammys were last night, and Beyonce won Best Album of the Year and Best Country Album of the Year. What are we doing? I'm like so confused. We got refs bailing out Kansas City again. We got these stupid award shows, which are always rigged. Everything's rigged. Everything's just rigged. I just want, for once in my life, a fair competition. I just want somebody to win who deserves to win. And it does happen. I'm not saying it never happens, but it just really annoys me when somebody is on that their stupid award speech. You had Billie Eilish, who had a fantastic album this year. I can't believe Ariana Grande's album was not nominated. It just drives me bonkers. You had Taylor Swift up there. Who were the other ones? Chappell Rowan was nominated. Sabrina Carpenter was nominated. It's just like albums that had such an impact on society 10 times over than Cowboy Carter. Maybe one or two songs I could name off of that album. Nobody cared about it. Nobody was talking about it. Nobody wanted anything to do with it. And it is like beyond me how that one country album. It wasn't a country album. I listened to some of the songs and they sounded pop. How can it just like doesn't make sense. I don't understand how you can put a cowboy hat on your album cover and then submit it for a country. I'm not a musician, but that just seems I'm sick of it. So, yeah, that was probably the most recent thing that happened in pop culture news. What the heck were we talking about? Oh, Oscars. Yeah, I need to watch all the Oscars movies. And once I do that, I will come back and report on how I feel. I do know that Emilia Perez movie, that really, really weird, bad movie that Selena Gomez is in, is nominated for like 20 Oscars or something. Stupid. And it's just a terrible movie. I have not watched it. I don't feel that I need to watch it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are some movies where I can just look at it and I'm like, I know that's going to be a bad movie. Do I need to waste my time on it to give my opinion on it? Because, like, I already know. And that's one of them. So I will not be watching that movie. But the other ones I will watch. There are a few on my list. So, yeah, let's talk about my favorite all-time movies. Because I freaking love movies. And this is my podcast show. And this is what we're going to talk about. I think if I did have my own podcast show, I would just talk about movies. I've been trying to do that with TikTok. I have a few TikTok pages, actually, because I love TikTok so much. It's so easy to blow up. I've had a few videos blow up on TikTok just because the algorithm is so good that if you're consistent, you will grow on TikTok. And it's why I hate Instagram and Mark Zuckerberg. I just wish nothing but the worst on that robot. So basically, I'm overtaking the show and we would just talk about movies, literally. That's what I'm trying to do on TikTok. Just because something fun and something I'm passionate about, and that's what we'll turn the show into. So I'm literally going off the top of my head. I have not prepared anything for this. I have my feelings and my thoughts in my head, so I'm gonna try to go off the top of my head because I'm going off of nothing. So a really well-known thing to do on the red carpet is reporters will ask actors and actresses what their top 4 Letterboxd movies are. If you don't know what Letterboxd is an app. Letterboxd, I believe is how you spell it. And it's literally just an app for movies and shows. I think they do have some like limited time series on there. And you get to rate and review movies on there. It's so much fun. I forget how I discovered this app, but you get to make lists of like different kinds of movies. You can follow people. It's another social media. It's so fun. Everyone go follow me on there. My username is Films by Hope. I have great lists. And that's a common question is, what are your top 4 Letterboxd films? That's like a trend that they created. So you always got to have your top 4 ready. And I've had my top 4 locked and loaded. So we'll start with number 1. I'm trying to remember. I did make a TikTok about this. So I'm trying to remember what movie I had listed first. Okay, I remember. My first all-time favorite movie is Pride and Prejudice by... I don't know who it's by. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I said by so confidently. Like I know the director off the top of my head. I am full of shit. Okay? I do not want to be a movie critic. Movie critics are up their own asses. Movie critics said that Night at the Museum is not a good movie. What? I remember hearing that when that came out. I was a kid. And I said, are they on something? Like, how could you not think that Night at the Museum is a 10 out of 10 movie? They're up their own asses. Pride and Prejudice, the 2005 version with Keira Knightley. That's where I meant to go with that. I have no idea who directed it. Google it. I grew up watching this movie. It is based on the novel by Jane Austen. She's a famous author, if you didn't know. It's a love story. It's a love story between Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. Mr. Darcy is rich. He is rich as heck. He is like... Actually, I don't know what his wealth would equate to today. Oh, let's look that up. That might be fun. I'll try to like explain to you what the movie is about in layman terms. Ooh, this laptop is a touchscreen and it's actually really, really nice. Okay, what was I looking up? This is called ADHD, folks. Mr. Darcy's wealth. Mr. Darcy's wealth today. Mr. Darcy's wealth today depends on how inflation is calculated. Well, duh, that's why I'm looking it up. But it could range from about, this is the biggest range ever. This is the range they gave me. $990,000 a year to $16 million a year. Okay, we're going to go with the $16 million, all right? So imagine you are living your life with your sisters, okay? So there's this family. Elizabeth is one of the sisters. There's Elizabeth, Jane, Kitty, 5. There's 5 sisters. Elizabeth is one of them. She's the main character. So imagine you're chilling in your town with your 5 sisters, and this you hear through the news, you hear through the vineyard, the pipeline. Those are both wrong. But you hear through the town that some rich man is coming to your town. And this was a time period where women had no rights. They were property. So marriage was like the best way to get out of poverty and like make something of yourself if you were a woman. We love that. So imagine hearing the talk of the town that a rich man is coming to your town. You want to snatch that guy up because every other girl is looking to snatch that man up. And this man is making $16 million a year, estimation. Okay. We're putting it in today's terms. Someone making $16 million a year, I'd be like, yes, please sign me up. Where do I sign? On the dotted line. So Elizabeth is not really about marriage. She knows that it's something she has to do, but she really wants to marry for love. She's a lover's girl, you know, and she's a strong-headed female. She's not gonna settle for some bullshit. Go Elizabeth. We love that for her. So it's just this love story between the two of them. I don't think it's a spoiler alert that I tell you that it's a love story between Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. It's a very famous story if you haven't heard of it already, but I don't think I'd be spoiling anything for you. But it's just their different personalities and obviously pride and prejudice and kind of how those two traits that both of them have in different degrees lead to tension and conflict and miscommunication and assuming that you know somebody before you get to know them. It's a really beautiful story about, you know, finding love right in front of you, but kind of your own judgment, your own bias can get in the way of judging someone before you get to know them. So that's that story. I don't want to spoil anything. I think it'd be so fun, honestly, if kind of like Drunk History, how they retell history but drunk. I think that'd be funny to like retell a movie plot, but in the 21st century, where language is not as sophisticated, which I don't know why that is. Because why do none of us have transatlantic accents anymore? And why do men... There is one scene in Pride and Prejudice where Mr. Darcy says, I love you body and soul. I'm not going to get this wrong. I can't get this wrong for the audience. Mr. Darcy's, his love declaration. I could not think of the word. Give me the quote. Okay, that's from the book. From the movie. 2005. I love you. I wish to never be parted from you from this day forward. The best love declaration in Pride and Prejudice on Netflix. True. I want the quote though. Oh, here we go. Quotes. I'm telling you, I was watching this movie as a kid with my mom and my sister and my father from time to time. And it's just so reminiscent. Not only is it about the love story, but it's also about the sisters and their dynamic and like the love story between them and also growing up and letting go of your childhood. It's kind of like another rendition of Little Women, but with more of a love story. I feel like Little Women is definitely more focused on the sisters, which we love. But Pride and Prejudice is definitely more love mixed in with those similar themes though. I gotta find it. Oh, my batteries are running low. Oh. Give me the Declaration of Independence. That made me think of another movie with Nicolas Cage. National Treasure is a fantastic movie and honestly probably would go in number 5. It is such a great movie. Oh. There are so many good quotes in here. Okay, I literally cannot find it. I'm the worst. I'm so sorry, guys. This should be like the top quote. Oh. No. Oh, no. I found the YouTube video. Let's see if it plays.
My affections and wishes have not changed. But one word from you will silence me forever. If, however, your feelings have changed, I would have have bewitched me, body and soul, and I love you. I never wish to be parted from you from this day on.
Oh my gosh! Why don't men talk like that anymore? I never wish to be parted from you from this day forward. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If I was a man, oh my gosh, I would just watch the movies that these women are in love with, and I would learn how to talk like that. What are we doing now? Hookup culture? I was not even a part of that. I met my husband in high school. But still, if I had a man stalk across an open field, okay? Let's picture this for a second. Ugh, the most handsome man that you've been like going back and forth with, you've been teasing each other, you've been calling each other out, you've been getting in these intense fights. Like, there is chemistry there. You've been dancing at the balls. There is history there. And you come to the final scene and the hottest man is walking across an open field with his shirt unbuttoned at the top. And he says that to you? He says that to you? Oh my God. I would immediately fold. I would immediately be like, where's the ring? Put it on my finger. Let's go. Let's go live our happily ever after. And he makes $16 million a year. Anyway, the movie's fantastic. I am just obsessed with the cinematography, literally every frame in that. I'm already at 31 minutes, guys. I could talk about these movies forever. Every frame in that movie is literally a piece of art. You could pause that frame, any part of the movie, and hang it up on your wall, and it would be art. It's such a good love story. There's so much tension, and the two main characters, don't even kiss each other. Kiss until the very end. It is brilliant to be able to tell a love story like that through lighting and music. Oh, the music. Fun fact. One of the songs on the soundtrack is what I walked down the aisle to at my wedding. And it was heavenly. Yeah, just incredible. Incredible. Really just put my expectations for men way up in the stratosphere. As with everything. Okay, my next movie is Lord of the Rings. I could talk about Lord of the Rings for the rest of my life till the day I die. I've always said when I get old and cranky and I'm put into a nursing home or something, just play Lord of the Rings on repeat for me. I do not care. I don't care if my children come to visit me. Just stuff me in a nursing home and play Lord of the Rings on repeat. I will be fine. Give me a pudding cup from time to time. Check that I'm breathing. Give me a nice blanket and don't bother me. Honestly, that's what I want my old age to come to. I also grew up on these movies. 1, 2, and 3. It's a trilogy, the perfect trilogy, the perfect fantasy books, probably one of the best fantasy books that have ever been written. I do know who those are by. J.R.R. Tolkien. He wrote them. Just the world building, to be able to create a fantasy world is actually insane, right? I'm talking about ACOTAR. I'm talking about Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Star Wars, any of these fantasy, because you don't only have to create the characters and the plot, right? And make that captivating. No, you have to create a world and laws and government and backstories. And if there's magic, you have to make sure the magic makes sense and where did it come from? It's actually insane. You have to create different species of people and animals and plants and then give them all names. You're literally God. That's so much work. I hope you're taking a rest on Sunday because damn, I am very impressed. But just the movies alone, right? Because the books are always its own other thing. Obviously, we're talking about the movies. Oh my gosh, there's never been this cast. I'm telling you, I would say one of my dream jobs has always been to be a part of the movie industry in some way. I don't care what way. I think it'd be so cool to be able to cast for a movie. I think I would be really, really good at that. Just because I'm very, I believe I'm an empath. I have self-diagnosed myself as an empath. I can pick up people's energies. I feel like I have good intuition on people. So I think that'd be so fun to do that in a casting sense for a movie, because I hate when somebody is casted wrong for a role. It's like the worst thing that you could do. I absolutely despise it. So I will just speak that into existence, and maybe one day I'll just become like a top casting director. That'd be so fun. But this cast for this movie is like actually insane. This is where my first great love is from. Aragorn. Whatever, don't come after me. Oh my gosh. The most beautiful man. The savior of men. The men kingdom. Oh, his hair in this movie. The fighting and the action. Oh, anyway, we got to focus on one thing at a time. The cast is insane. From Frodo to Sam, the hobbits, Gandalf was casted perfectly. Aragorn, Legolas, the elves. It's like the woman and the elves, the costume design, the makeup design. I'm getting into other things now. Nobody's done it since then. And there is some CGI, but not a lot. And I could get on a full paint. I could go on a rampage on CGI. I think we depend too much on CGI, and it ruins movies today. Tell me why movies 10, 20 years ago are better and hold up compared to movies today. Because it's the money machine, and they just want to pump out movies. We're getting ahead of ourselves. But there is some CGI, not a lot. Everything is effects and makeup, and it's real. And it makes it so much better. So the location shooting that they did for this, it's why I want to go visit New Zealand one time in my life, because it's actually insane. The images in this movie are insane. How they shot it, insane. The acting, so good, which goes into the cast and everything else. The story, just incredible. I mean, like, just your top-notch fantasy story, okay? You got these hobbits who are these little tiny people, and they're just living in the hills. They're just chilling it up, living in the hills, until one day something lands on their doorstep. Something enters their lives. There's a backstory. That's where the Hobbit comes from, which leads into Lord of the Rings. But the one reign to rule them all ends up in a hobbit's hands, and he has to destroy it. And it's so endearing. I think just that alone, of how a hobbit who doesn't really have any special talents besides just being small and quiet on their feet and just a lover of good food and parties and home, is able to defeat the like greatest all-time evil character in the story. Just from persistence and faith and friendship and love. The themes that run so deep in this movie, I mean, this trilogy is like one of the best trilogies of all time. But it's one of the best trilogies for positive masculinity. I feel like if I said that in front of Mark and Andrew, they would laugh at me. But it really is such a beautiful example of male friendship and male love. And I don't mean that in like a gay way. I mean, you could maybe take it in a gay way, but I mean that in like a men going to battle and fighting with each other, and just like the love and respect that comes from that, and like kings and honor and legacy and, you know, past, present, future, and like deciding your own fate. And it's just so beautiful. Obviously there's girl power in there too. We love the girlies in this movie. Although I did see a TikTok and somebody, they put together a compilation of when two female characters talk to each other in Lord of the Rings, and it's like one time. It's 1 second long. which, whatever. But there are strong female characters in this movie. They just don't talk to each other. They're off doing different things. Okay, whatever. But yeah, it's just, I love the soundtrack. I cry every time. The war scenes in this movie is what I hold up every other war scene to. Like, I feel like we haven't had a cinematic experience like that maybe since Endgame. I would say Endgame, Infinity War, Avengers was pretty close. And then I would say Dune is pretty close recently. That have been like big Hollywood productions. Because the war scenes in Lord of the Rings are so well choreographed and they're so well shot. Like, I am never bored, but it doesn't go too fast. It doesn't go too slow. They're so well thought out. It's just, I love a huge battle scene. I have been craving a huge battle scene. The only reason that I want Dune 3 is because Dune 1 and 2 were amazing, but I want a big battle scene. I want a production-sized battle scene. And I think when I saw Infinity War, that was the first time where I was like, that was really well executed. And that was the first Avengers movie Marvel movie that I've ever seen. That's where I started. I started at Infinity War, and it was fantastic. But yeah, I miss big production war scenes. I want them. I want more. Bring them back. But yeah, just all the different characters and how their storylines. I like, literally, it's just The Hobbit. Okay, you want my rendition of this movie? It's 4 little hobbits. Well, 1 hobbit. Frodo and Sam, 2 hobbits, basically going to destroy the most evil thing in Middle Earth. And they're all going to war, and they're all fighting good versus evil, and it's just the creatures that they encounter. Gollum, a personal favorite. And just seeing yourself in each character. It's like, I can't even talk about it. Like, I have to do a deep dive episode just into Lord of the Rings to unpack it all. But I literally tell everybody to watch Lord of the Rings. And if you'd have watched Lord of the Rings, like if you just met me and then you just start talking about Lord of the Rings, I will automatically be your best friend. Like, when you first meet me, I don't really talk. I'm quiet. I'm reserved. I kind of tend to feel people out before I engage. And I just sometimes don't have the energy to keep a conversation going. But if you bring up one of my special interests, like a little autistic person, I'm not autistic. I'm not. I have not been diagnosed. I definitely think I'm a little bit. I also think I have OCD and ADHD just because of TikTok and the videos that I get. But maybe that's everybody. So, but if you bring up Lord of the Rings, I will automatically love you and I will automatically be your best friend. I freaking love those movies. Okay, my third movie is Rear Window by Alfred Hitchcock. I do know who that one's by. It's an old one. It's like a 1950s, old black and white. And I'm not putting that on my list to be like a snooty film person. You know those snooty film critics who put movies that you've literally never heard about? I'm not doing it to do that. This is just honestly a fantastic movie. And my mom showed me this movie growing up. Nostalgia is very important to me, if you can't tell. But it is a murder mystery movie with Jimmy Stewart and Grace Kelly, who is one of the most beautiful people probably in the world. Yeah, it's just a fantastic movie about this man who solves a murder from his rear window. You guys guessed it. The fun thing about this movie is it's shot all in one spot. They do not move from one set. It's built like apartments. It's in New York City. It's in New York City, right? That could be totally wrong. I'm assuming it's in a city somewhere. And it's apartment complexes, and then your view is in the back of the apartment complex. So you're looking out into a shared yard area, and then you can see the different apartment buildings around, so you can kind of see into everybody's apartment. I do it. Everybody does it. Everybody is a rear window bitch. I'm a rear window slut because I am looking out these windows every day of my life. We have some crazy neighbors. Some have moved out. Some have been excommunicated from the street. But yeah, we've had some screaming, yelling matches out here. We've had cops out here, drug deals out here. It's so fun to watch that shit from your window. We will hear the faintest scream and I will mute the TV. I'll be like, what was that? What was that? And I will listen intently to other people's drama. It's just the human in me. You would do the same. So the plot is so fun. Basically, the main character broke both of his legs because he's a photographer and he got a shot. He got a shot, like a photo. But to get that shot, he broke both of his legs for the perfect photo. So it starts with him with 2 broken legs. And he is healing. So he has nothing else to do in his apartment besides look out his rear window. And so happens some creepy things start to happen and a murder takes place. And he puts it on himself to figure it out. Put a stop to the shady business. And I always wondered if like that would happen to me, what I would do. Like, I think I would be terrified for my life. And would I call 911 right away? How do you even witness a murder? I feel like now that wouldn't happen just because there's like cameras and everything and people would draw their blinds. And I think the murderers today are a little more skeptical than the murderers in the 1950s. But yeah, the set design is crazy. The dialogue is A+ in this movie. This is the movie where I realized how important dialogue is. Because, I mean, I knew dialogue was important, but you can just tell the difference between like a Sharknado dialogue and like intellectual Rear Window, murder mystery, Alfred Hitchcock dialogue. Alfred Hitchcock also wrote Psycho, Birds. He's like one of the most famous earlier murder mystery guys. So he's really fun. And he appears in all of his movies. Fun fact. But yeah, Grace Kelly's insane. The fashion, the dialogue, the chemistry, the banter, and you're solving a mystery. But it's not gory. But it's so scary. Not like, I don't want you to go into it being like, it's like, No, it's not like Saw. But it's like, it's suspenseful. You know, put yourself in his shoes or in his wheelchair and you'd be scared. If that was actually happening outside your window, you'd be terrified. So the way that they play with silence and light and angles is really, really cool because it's on one set. You're not going anywhere. So brilliant. Claps for Rear Window. Okay, my last one is Interstellar by Christopher Nolan. I think we all knew this going into it. I'm checking the time. I'm doing good. I think I can get this done in 10 minutes. Interstellar. Oh my gosh. For the longest time, it was just 3 movies. I just had those 3 movies in my back pocket at all times. Interstellar came along. I watched this movie in 2022. I want to say 3 years ago. Right, because it's 2025, so 3 years ago. I watched this movie in my apartment, in my bedroom, alone. I will sometimes just get the feeling to watch a life-changing movie. I don't know where it comes from. Maybe depression. And I just want to not feel sad anymore. So I'm like, give me a movie that will change my life. And I heard so much about Interstellar, right? It's on like every Film Bros top 10 list. They're like, what's the greatest movie of all time? Interstellar, right? It's like a common. And I was like, okay, either this lives up to the hype or it doesn't. Because movies, they either will or they won't. Which is sometimes why I wait a little bit. Like I won't watch a movie right when it comes out all the time. Because I kind of want to see how people react over time. Will it tell the test of time? I'm making stuff up. Or I'm having a stroke. No, I cannot think of that phrase. But, no, it's really bothering me now. Whatever. So I wait. I wait. And then one day I was like, I'm going to watch this movie. I'm going to watch Interstellar. I started the movie at midnight. Don't ask me why. Why did I start Interstellar, like a 3-hour long movie, at midnight? I don't know. Don't ask me why. I was alone in my bedroom and my expectations were low. Or I tried not to have expectations just because it's such a highly rated film. But I love Christopher Nolan, so I gave it a shot. When I tell you my life was forever changed after this movie, I'm not being dramatic. My life changed. It was like before Interstellar, after Interstellar. That might sound dramatic, especially if you don't like watching movies or like you don't love something with that much intensity. But it's the truth. I'm just telling the truth. It was like opened my eyes to an alternate universe, I swear. This movie was insane. If you don't know, because I honestly had no idea what this movie was about. I just thought it was about space. Like we were going up to space and we were doing something in space. A synopsis is basically, it's supposed to take place in the future, some point in the future. They don't really specify, unless they do and I missed it. But it's some point in the future on Earth where they run out of food. And like global warming has taken over, you know. They haven't gotten rain. Crops are dying. You're in a kind of pre-apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic world. It's different. Something catastrophic happened and it's a different life on Earth. And it's not going to last. Okay, we have like the great extinction basically looming over Earth. They're going to run out of food. And the main character, who is played by Matthew McConaughey, what a guy, he is tasked with finding another home for planet Earth. They're going to leave Earth and they need to find a new home. And he's tasked with a team and with that duty. So that's where space comes into it because they're trying to find a new home. But it's so much more layered than that. It really, really plays on the father-daughter relationship, which I am my father's daughter. I love my dad so much. So this really tugs on the heartstrings for me because I love a father-daughter relationship in movies. And the daughter is on Earth while the father is in space, and it kind of bounces back between both of their stories. Oh my gosh. Just insane to have a mind like Christopher Nolan to make this movie. I don't understand how you have a mind to make this movie. All reason out the door. I guess he worked with like physicists and scientists and to like get as accurate as he could with like different space anomalies that we just don't know about because we're not able to enter them, like wormholes and black holes and stuff like that. He just explores things that nobody knows anything about, but he just dives into it because he can. I saw this movie last year in IMAX. Oh my gosh. IMAX is insane. It's like a roller coaster. Have you ever seen anything in IMAX? It's this huge ass screen and these little tiny chairs. You're literally on a roller coaster ride. Full screen, floor to ceiling, Interstellar. Nothing like it. Literally a once in a lifetime experience. It was so incredible. Seeing those images, the silence, again, the way that he uses silence, the score, the music in Interstellar, he just kills it every time. It's crazy. The cast is amazing. The acting's amazing. The images, like seeing those images of space on a screen like that, you're just in disbelief. I'm not kidding. When this movie ends, you're like disassociating from your body for a good 10 days after. That's just all you're thinking about. It's so heart-wrenching and emotional, and just like the way that's what makes a good movie and a good director is they take all these little parts and they mesh them together so perfectly, and you're just like a ball on the floor trying to take everything in. Yeah, literally insane. Could go on and on and on forever about that movie. And I just love how simple the theme is how it always goes back to love. And it's basically a movie about how love transcends time and space. And it's the only thing we know that transcends time and space. Which is like, just like take the craziest movie you can think of. You're in space. I can't even get to how crazy this movie gets because I don't want to spoil anything. And then it's just like that theme, that simple underlying theme is like so beautiful and brings a tear to my eye. So recently, as of 2 years ago, that has been added onto my top 4 list because there's just movies that you watch that literally change your life. Not to be dramatic, but like actually to be dramatic as hell. They just do. It is like your life before that movie and your life after it. And you know when you're watching it. You feel it in your bones. Like it's changing your chemistry that you just love this movie so much. So that's my top 4. Guys, I'm at 56 minutes. I've been talking for almost an hour, which is kind of crazy. But I hope you got to know a little bit more about me and the things that I love. I love these movies like my children. And I thought it'd kind of be fun to talk about something that I wanted to talk about. And I love movies. So those are my top 4. So hopefully you got to like get to know me a little better. And it was fun being able to chit chat without 2 boys talking over me and thinking that I want their input. I do not want their input. But we will see you guys next week. If you haven't watched any of my all-time favorite movies of all time, you better go watch them and report back. And we will hopefully get our schedules together and our communication better for next week. And we'll have Andrew and Mark back to join us. But this was fun. Thanks for coming to my little living room studio and hanging out and chit-chatting. And this was fun. Yeah. I forget how we end. How do we end this? Listen, send to your friends, send to your grandma, your aunt and uncle that you haven't talked to in years. I don't know. What is the other thing that he says? Leave us a 5-star review. And we'll catch you. I got it. I remembered it. I forgot it for a second, but then I remembered it. We'll catch you guys on the flippity flip. Oh my gosh. Can I like not have a stroke for 1 second in my life? Catch you guys on the flippity flip. Adios. Bye.